So the first thing we need to do is we need to find the height of this. So we have it bonded out through here. Remember, this is the center. This is the brick that we used to do our bonding, right? To find the height, we're going to take our level. We're going to level across. All right. You want to help me here, Demir? Pull your spacing rule out. And this is our corner that we're going to take height from. And put it right up to that level. Nice and straight. We're going to hold this level. What do we got? Can you put it on the other side here? Like this? Can you hold that? So I can see it. Nice and level. We got level. And if you look there,
I see two numbers.
what do I have there?
Yeah, let's see, a 6 and a 4.
What do I have? What do you think, guys?
You go from the top of the bottom.
I'm going to. It's got to be the same as what is there.
0. Number 2, 0, 2.
Yeah. So we don't want. Remember, we want to try to stick, 3s, 4s, 5s. If we have to, 6s. Because this down here is most likely laid. It's laid on 6 modular 6s, and a modular 6 is close to a spacing rule 5. Not exactly the same, right? So we're above a 5, 10
Yes,
5s.
6s.
So
You lay a couple on 6 or see it, lay like 1 or 2 on 6.
that's probably what we'll have to end up doing is lay a couple on 6s. The problem with that is just 6s aren't a great. They're not great because they're big. They're very wide. They're a little bit bigger than you want, but it depends on what you have. These are pretty big already. They're a modular 6, which isn't the same as spacing 6. Remember that? They're different. But I could probably lay a couple on 6s, and so I can get to 5 and make sure that's right. All right. And how do we find out exactly how many? We hold that level again. Yeah, the red number is the coursing. Yeah, so 10 5s. But remember the distance between the 16ths, the number of 16ths from the bottom of the level to there is how many courses of 6s we're going to have to lay. All right, that's going to be something that's going to take a little bit of time for you to kind of wrap your head around. But I know what I would do on the job is I would see that distance, then I would go and find where a 5 and a 6 are the same distance, and then that would be my number, and I would hit it right on every time. But to do it exactly, you would count the number of 16ths. So I'm going to hold this level, and then I see that I'm going to do 10 courses. And you know what? That's almost right on a 6, actually. So I probably just have to lay all 6s. Once again, not ideal because they're big, right? So it's a little bit better if maybe you can. It's just the way the arch form is sitting. It's sitting down a little bit, so. But that's how you get it. All right. So now we know we have to lay 6s over here. Not modular. Remember spacing 6s. So I always write that down. Put 6s right there. Let's check the other side. Same thing. All right. And my level. No, there go up. And this is basically the same thing. I'm gonna have to be a hair tight. I have to lay like 1 5 or so, but I have to lay 6s over there as well. All right. You guys should get in the habit of writing everything down. Like if you figure something out, if it's a 1/4 inch high or low on one side or the other, always write it down because you will forget and then you won't remember what's going on. But if it's written there, you always know. So now I know what my height is on 6s. So here, now we can start laying brick on 6s. Now the first thing we do is we have it spaced out. We're gonna build our leads, right? So I'm gonna build a lead over here. And for me, you always want to try to build as much of a lead as you can. Be careful because there's some chunks, some little chunky. They always got to find the chunks with the furrow and take them out because if there's a chunk when you're laying brick, it's going to It's gonna mess you up. And spread. You always spread as even as possible. Furrow all the way out to the face. These corners, you always got to furrow it all the way out to the corner. Always out, all the way out to the corner. You always see there's no gaps there. Got to furrow that all the way out. Because also with that furrow, you're finding chunks. Whenever you grab a corner brick, every brick always has a more square corner, and I can see this one's more square. 6s are very big. All right. A trick you can do is, does anybody have a trig on them? All right, see that? You gotta be careful putting chips in. You don't want to put chips in the wall. So I'm actually going to discard that brick. Tell it can be a little bit loud, so I can bed it up a little bit. Remember the mirror, they're going to be big joints, so you want to make sure that you have it bed up pretty good.
Can't believe the same. Oh.
Take your time, make sure they're pretty tight joints here. So make sure everything matches. All right, and see how I always, you spread as much as you can, and then you lay as much as you want to spread and lay the whole thing first, usually, and then level it, because you don't want to waste a step. All right, and whenever it's already level, whenever the work below you is nice and level, it's a lot easier to do. I always like to, I level the top of that with my 2 foot, but I like to use my 4 foot to plumb because you're eventually going to switch to it anyway, so I always like to do my 4 foot. Wow. And then I go around, I plumb all my plumb spots, just like going up here. Never beating my level because when you hit your level, it doesn't really set the brick where it needs to be. I like to always have a framing square and check. That's another step I like to do as well. I like to check this with my framing square, make sure it's right, but then once you know it's right, you don't have to check it every course, but you just gotta make sure it stays nice and square. Alright, after I lay that, I'm gonna pull out mine. Another trick you can do to help yourself out is you put your trig sticking out here, and you can check to see if it's on 6s. Right? I'm just kind of sitting there, and that looks pretty much right on a 6. Then you're just going to keep laying the 6s all the way up. It's a little bit of a big bed joint. So I'm not going to keep laying this. I would, I would build this all the way up as high as I could, and then we hang the line on. All right, somebody grab me a line. Can you grab me a line out of your bag? And 2 line blocks. Actually, 4 line blocks. Yeah, 4 line blocks. All right, I'm going to keep laying while I'm waiting for the line. It's really important. The spread is the most important part. It eliminates so much work later down the road. If you don't spread full, then you're going to spend so much time striking it up later. And also, you got to kind of spread to what you have to spread to what spacing you're laying. I'm laying a 6, so I'm trying to spread nice and heavy, and you don't want to squeeze it down too far. You never find the square end of the brick. And the brick end up laying themselves.
Ghost.
Clean your tails off. Then you clean your tails off, like that mortar I just threw back in there, I'll be able to reuse again. That's another reason you do it. Alright, so we have 4 line blocks here. I'm going to finish plumbing this up real quick, just since once you lay brick, you have to kind of finish. I always like to, I level first along the straight brick on the jamb and try to keep it as consistent as possible. What's up?
Do you leave your trig right in that joint right above the?
All right, give me a trig out of your bag. And the key to not hitting it level, it sets the brick down. When I set it with the trowel, and not this part of the trowel as much. You can do that, but like I said, I think you get a little bit better set with the shank of your trowel.
What?
Good. All right, so we have the trig. All right, the trig is going to go on the top of that course where we took our height from.
Does it stay there the whole time?
Yeah, it stays there the whole time. I know a lot on the job. This is not really a practice you do. Usually, you don't, because the thing is you have to take that out. But here in shop, that's a good practice. So now I can check from the top of that. All right. So my ends are a hair higher than my leads there, so I just got to take that into account. Make sure I get it fixed. Again, I like to use my 4-foot. I like to always plumb the end of the jamb. This brick is going this way, so I plumb that first. All right, and if the work below is plumb, the brick, you know, as long as you spread properly, the brick lay themselves. Really. All right, looks like it's sticking out a little bit. Another important thing to do is I'm going to go around plumb every spot first. Alright, it's a hair hard, right? If that brick below is not, if that mortar's not set up yet, you still have a little bit of time to move it over. So I just kind of hit that bottom brick and got it right to where it needs to be. If you lay a couple, like 3 or 4 courses, and then the mortar's hard below, it's not gonna, you're not gonna be able to move it over. It's just gonna break the bond, and then you're just gonna have issues. All right, and then I go in straight edge everything. And you always want to check this too. What's this called?
The range.
Yeah, checking your range, so everything is nice and straight, and that looks pretty good. With brick, you can do it just like block. You can do the bottom and the top. A lot of guys just do the top because it's such a small surface area. You know, so if you're comfortable with that, as long as you're not getting the brick kind of hacking around, you can do it that way. Check that, and check your range. All right, looks like I'm a little funny here, so I'm actually gonna, that's still wet, so I'm gonna make that range right. I'm gonna blend it all in. And with checking your height, you check your height as much as you need to. And for me, I usually lay a little heavy, and then I can just drop it down and check my height, hopefully I'm right on. All right, yeah, so I'm still right on the 6s. All right, so I'm going to keep rolling like that until I get to the top. Because then when you make it to the top of this, when you go to work over top of that brick, you're going to lay a full course and you're going to have a nice, 3/8 joint over the top of that. All right, so that's the goal. So now we have our leads established. Like I said, I'd finish this up. After I'm done building my lead, what do I do with my leads?
Lead to him.
Yes, you always, after you build a lead, you always want to strike your lead so it's done. And then after you're done, you build the lead, you strike the lead, then you move on, build a lead, strike a lead, and then lay it all on the line and strike it all when it's done. All right? You don't want to forget to strike. I'm going to use 4 line blocks here. And we got the string. I'll find the end of this here. I see it. That's why it's important to make sure it's always wrapped up properly. Sometimes it just will come out. There it is. Kind of give ourselves some. I like to pull left or right. Damir's going to keep working on his, and I'm going to just spot my line block underneath, and he's going to have to try to plumb around it. I like to cut my line blocks down so I can plumb around my line blocks a little bit easier. He's gonna try to, I'll put it in the mortar joint here so he can still plumb. And I'm basically gonna just run right around. Put this line down. Pull it as tight as I can without pulling his work off. It's all fresh work. It's important to pull it tight. And see, well, I'll show you this, but if you guys want to take a look in here, see how far away this line is from that brick? All right, can you see that? Everyone take a look.
That's not good.
That's not good. See how far away that line is from that brick? All right. Question is, why is it so far away?
Does that mean you didn't stretch the line you was building the roots or the piers?
Why is that line so far away?
That wasn't right.
The piers aren't square with each other.
Keep thinking. Keep thinking. What do you think? Take a look at it. Eyes.
Did he stretch a chalk line all the way through?
We did stretch the chalk line. I don't think that's the reason though. Why is that line so far away?
Different trades?
I mean, different line block.
They're different line blocks, yeah. But that's not the answer. What's the answer? Elf, do you see it? What's the answer? Why is that line? And that's not good. How far away do we want the line?
Trials width.
Trowels width? All right. What do you think? Why is that line like that? All right.
Because you have to put mortar in the little. It's too deep.
Well, yeah. Look at it's the line. Look how deep the cut is.
Yeah.
See how deep the cut is on the line block? All right, and that's something you got to keep an eye on. It's the line block is very deep. So a trick to deal with that is you take some mortar and you fill it up. Elf, it sounds like you've dealt with this before, right?
Yeah.
And then it makes it so it stays nice and tight. And then we put it back on. All right. And that is pretty good. You know, it is a hair big, but it's nice and consistent. It might be hitting some of his mortar down there because he's still working on his. Remember, we always want to set it to the top of the course as well. See how it's to the top of the brick, and we'll set his to the top of the brick. All right, just something to be wary of. All right, I'm going to keep working around. Leave myself a little bit of slack on the end here. You know, and this is what I like to do. I don't like to cut my line all up, but you know, it's always good to have a series of small lines. Sometimes I like the smaller blocks like that. They're a little bit easier to work with.
Are you gonna fill that one up too?
It looks like no. See, this one is perfect. It's got a nice tiny little cutout, so it actually is perfect. So I'm just going to put it on. And you can always put it on and see, and if you see the problem with the line block after it's on. All right. Good? Is it all good now?
Yeah.
All right, so when you stretch this line block, you want to pull it as tight as you can without pulling the work off. So I just kind of did it by eye, but like you give yourself a little bit of slack, and we can pull it pretty tight there because these bricks set up, and that's why it's important to have nice full head joints because it'll pull the brick if the head joints aren't full. All right, so I'm going to spot that to the top. All right, that's perfect right there. See how when you flick the line, it likes to move? Here, Mike, excuse me. Can you see your trowel, please? All right, clean that off. All right, which one? Did you plumb the jams? It's all good because the line will show us. We don't need to plumb that. The line can show us if that's plumb. All right, we're going to put this up here. This line block is a little bit deep. I like it to be nice and tight. You want it to be not terribly deep, but you want it to be nice and consistent. All right, nice and consistent through there. Oh, I just kicked my line off. It's all good. We can put it back just like this. Let me put this out of the way so I don't kick it off. All right, and right to the top of that course. All right, am I one course too high? No.
There you go.
All right.
Doesn't the line block have a chance of pulling your brickwork and messing up your frame?
It does have a chance of pulling your brickwork, but you got to pull it so it doesn't. And if you have nice full head joints, it won't pull the brickwork off. Even with this shop mortar, and this brick is pretty good. So if you saw the way that I laid mine, I had nice full head joints, and it's not going to pull off. All right, and everything's nice and tight. You can pull it though. If I pull it tight enough, I'll pull it right off. Right? A trick you can do if you need to pull it tighter. Can I have a couple bricks there, please, Faust? 2, 3. Just give me any brick. Doesn't matter. So what you do is if you need to pull it tighter. If I need to go to like 1 brick, you can take 2 brick or 3 brick or multiple brick, stack them perfectly on top, and then I can slide that on there, and I can pull that pretty tight. As tight as, and you'll feel it. You can feel it if it breaks. That means it's too tight. Then you got to reset that. So now all the lines are up. And now what are we ready to do?
Lay the creepers.
Lay the creepers. What do you think, Eduardo? What am I ready to do now? Slam and jam? We are ready to slam and jam, yes. But what in particular are we ready to put in? What are we putting in?
Creepers.
Not the creepers.
Skew back.
Is there a skew back with this type of arch?
No.
There is not a skew back with this type of arch. What are we ready to lay now?
The arch.
The arch? What part of the arch?
Spring line. Or not spring line. Oops. Introduce.
Spring point?
That is the spring point there. But what are we ready to lay?